Hello guys, welcome back to part 2 of this. As you all know, we were discussing about emotional intelligence, and I hope you've really learned from the first part of this topic. So as we go on with the second part, Grace, I'd like you to tell us, is it possible for one to do an assessment of the level of emotional intelligence, so that maybe one can identify, this is my weak point, this is my strength, this is where I need to work on something like that?
Yeah, you can do an assessment. Actually, it's very easy. Even when you Google emotional intelligence assessment, there are so many tests which will be listed there, and you can fill out, and then from there they'll tell you how to grade yourself. Each test that you can, any test that you will download, there are the set of questions that you need to answer, and then after you answer, you can grade yourself. From there you can tell if you're emotionally intelligent or if you're not. So it's actually very easy. So there are many tests out there. I cannot even specifically point out one. There are many. You just download, you fill it. From there you can tell.
So what you're telling us, it's possible to assess ourselves?
Very possible. Very easy. You don't even need help from someone else. You can just Google. It will bring out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know maybe we have our viewer there wondering, why emotional intelligence? So maybe you can tell us the importance of one being emotional intelligent.
Okay. When one is emotionally intelligent, they are able to relate with people well. Their relationships are healthy because they know how to deal with people. No matter who you are, what you do, they know how to handle different types of people. So that means they'll have very good relationships with people. Another thing that makes it important to have emotional intelligence is that you're able to listen to others, because you understand that what maybe you are feeling as a person is not what the other person might feel. So when someone comes and they are talking to you, you are able to listen to them, you're able to understand where they are coming from, you're able to be empathic to what they are going through. So those are actually 2 points in one. You're able to listen and you can be empathetic to someone else. So those are 2 in one. Also, when you're an emotionally intelligent person, you're able to avoid stress. And your mental health is good because you know how to handle difficult situations. When you're in a difficult situation, you know how to calm down before you react. That will make you less prone to volatile situations because you take time to step back. You first of all calm down, and then you can react, because sometimes some of the problems that we see is because you just reacted immediately. And when you're emotional, the logic part of your brain does not work. You just
compromised.
You just work with your emotional brain. So you'll just do anything, and then later maybe you'll be like, why did I do that? Why didn't I? So when you're emotionally intelligent, you can be able to first of all calm down before you react, which makes it you can handle actually even conflict in a very good way. Even when you are in a conflict with someone, you are able to be calm and deal with that situation in a very healthy way. Because there are people who, when they're in conflicts, they become explosive because they'll just react. But when you're emotionally intelligent, you can deal with conflicts in a very healthy way. You know how to deal with it in an effective way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to bring a case scenario. We use it as an example.
Yeah.
In this case scenario, I would like you to answer the question. When a person is emotionally intelligent and they are dealing with another who totally, the intelligence, the emotional intelligence is questionable, how do we go about it? Maybe it could be, a married couple. It could be a parent-kid relationship. It could be just casual friendship out here. It could be colleagues. It could be, anybody relating. So how do we deal with such a situation, and how do we strike a balance?
Okay. I think maybe I can use an example to kind of show how an emotionally intelligent person would deal with an issue. For example, maybe someone has made you angry. Maybe you told them not to do something, but they still did it. So it makes you feel angry when that person, maybe I told you, no, you're not supposed to do this, but then you did it. So I'll become angry. If I'm a person who is emotionally intelligent, the first thing would be to recognize that, first of all, I'm angry at you, Fancy, because you did what I told you not to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should lash out at you, or maybe just do something crazy. But then because I'm emotionally intelligent, I'll pause. I'll first of all accept that I'm angry,
Yeah.
but I'll pause. If I need to move out from you, maybe if we are seated in a room, if I need to walk out so that I can be calm, I'll do that. Because I understand that when I'm emotionally charged, it will not go well. So if I need to calm down, I can even first of all go away. But going away does not mean that I'm ignoring the problem. I'm first of all going away so that I can be calm and handle that situation in a calm way. So maybe I might go out for a walk, and then when I feel calm, I'll come back. I'll tell you, Fancy, I know you did what I told you not to do, and it made me angry because I had told you, but you still did it. That means that I'll be able to articulate myself to you why I'm angry, but in a very calm way. You now, on the other hand, because I'm not emotional, even if you are so emotional, you'll first of all seem like you also be calm, because I've not come in a harsh manner. I'm very calm. I'm telling you, Fancy, you did this, and I told you not to do it. It made me angry. But now I can't control what you're going to do. The only thing I can control is what me as a person I'm going to do with what you did to me. Because sometimes we have to remember that you cannot control how people react, how they deal with their emotions. What we can do is deal with how us as people are dealing with our emotions, how we handle it. So even as I tell you that I'm angry, I should not even have that expectations that maybe you'll understand my point of view. You might understand where I am coming from, and that's okay. You might not understand where I'm coming from, and that's still okay. But at least I've said what I felt.
I've made you aware.
Yeah, I've made you aware. And sometimes, it's like when someone hurts you and then you tell them that you hurt me. Sometimes our expectation is that that person will apologize or they'll say they are sorry, but sometimes it doesn't end up that way.
Yeah.
And when it goes in that direction, you find that you're still angry. Because you see, maybe you thought when I tell them that I was angry, they'll apologize. But you have to remember that we can't control other people. So you might tell someone that they angered you, but they'll not understand where you're coming from. But that's still okay. The fact that you've said what you felt, that's what matters.
That's
most.
what matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Grace, being in a profession where you see so many people, coming to you, you are one of those people we only visit when we have mental issues. Where do you think emotional intelligence has been compromised more? Is it in relationships? Is it in how one handles themselves? Where do you feel emotional intelligence has been compromised most?
Okay, you remember we mentioned some of the components of emotional intelligence.
Sure.
And sometimes in my line of work, what I see most is that people they lack empathy. They don't know how they feel. So if you don't know how you feel, you cannot regulate.
You are not self-aware.
Yes. If you're not self-aware, you cannot
Self-regulate.
And also empathy. You'll find someone will come and then they'll tell you that maybe they had an issue, they went to talk to someone. Maybe they thought that someone would maybe give them hope, encourage them, but that person actually pushed them to the wall. You'll hear people saying that I went to so-and-so, I was stressed because of this and that. but that person could not see from your point of view. So they'll actually make it worse for you. Instead of giving you hope, they'll crush you. And that's something, even you see, even those lines being thrown about, even in the social media, when someone says, I'm going through this, instead of encouraging that person, giving them hope according to the situation that they're going through, we mostly tend to find
Brush them
ourselves,
off.
brush them off, say that's not a big deal.
Others
Me,
have
I'm
been
dealing,
there with worse.
and they made it. So when we do that,
Yeah.
it worsens the situation, because sometimes when you're talking about what you're going through, the agenda is maybe to have someone who will just listen. Sometimes it's not even, you don't even need advice. You need someone to just listen
Just
to
a
you.
shoulder.
Active listening, to
Yeah.
just listen, to tell you it's okay. I might not understand what you're going through, but there is hope. Because at that time, when you start comparing other people to that person's situations, it's so bad. You make that person feel like they don't deserve to be feeling what they're feeling.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I have observed so much. Empathy is lacking in so many people. It's like it's a norm. When someone tells you nilifutwa a job, the next thing will be like, me, I've
So
not had
what?
a job for a year. You
I
know,
mean,
it's okay, you've not had it, but maybe me, I've not experienced that. It's the first time. So maybe you'd have first of all listened, and then later you can tell me, you know, even me, I've not been on a job for a whole year. Maybe that time later I can understand where you're coming from. But now you can imagine I've come to you, I'm down. Then instead of even giving me hope at that time when I need it, you worsen the situation. The other thing is, most people do not even know how they feel. And you know, when you're not in touch with your emotions, you can never understand why people are angry.
you can be in touch with others people's emotions.
Exactly. That means you'll be like, why is that other person angry? Because you yourself, you don't give yourself time to be angry. So you'll find that you are harsh to people. Even if you're a parent, you'll be like, if it's your child, you'll be like, you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to be angry, this is, you know, because you yourself, you don't give yourself that time to be angry, to be disappointed, to be. And then there is the fact that maybe the society has that notion of negative emotions and positive emotions.
Yeah.
So we put so much emphasis on the positive ones, happy, joy, but we kind of shun away from talking about the negative emotions in quotes. But sometimes we forget that they are part of life. They're not really negative, because sometimes they tell you where maybe an injustice was done, maybe where someone crossed your boundaries. They're just communicating to you as a person. I'm angry because so and so did this, they were not supposed to do that. It's communicating something, but then we've normalized repressing those emotions, especially when it's the negative, so-called negative emotions. So you find that people are not aware of how they feel, and also how the way they feel affects those people around them. You might not necessarily know that you're angry, but then your cup is overflowing all over to all those people who are around, and they're like, why is this person angry? But even you don't know you're angry. So you find that if you're not self-aware, you cannot regulate. If you're not aware of what you're feeling, you cannot deal with what is going on. I think those are the three major things that I've observed: is self-awareness, self-regulating, and empathy. And empathy is actually the biggest I've observed.
It's the matter of all. You know, as you're talking, it has reminded me of the many deaths that are taking place in the country. And, you know, I'm just thinking, as you know, as people, I think we are dying to be loved, you know, because I think love has become so rare, as you're saying. So, and this is what do we call it? This is the trick these people are using, you know, showing love and bringing you close to them. And at the end of it, they already have the plan that they want to execute. So at the end of it, they wipe you away. And as you're talking about empathy, I'm thinking, why have we compromised empathy so much? Why has love become such a big thing? And even as we go back to the Bible, for those who are Christians, we know Christ called us to love one another. Actually, that is the greatest commandment. So why do you think as people we've ended up to, being so rough even to ourselves? Because even suicide, the issue of suicide, where it comes in, I don't want to say those people don't love themselves, but I think the art or the issue of self-awareness has been compromised. But sometimes when your self-love is top-notch, personally I say I'm an ambassador of self-love. I love taking myself, and not majorly physically, but also my mental wellness. And I believe this has been very helpful to me, even in times when I'm facing challenges. So why are we not embracing this kind of self-love, a holistic self-love, where we are intentionally saying, I want to, to become self-aware. I want to become emotionally intelligent. I want to, to have clear boundaries to people. Why do you think we are suffering that?
There is something you've mentioned about empathy, and mostly I think the way we've grown up, maybe the social setup, we've grown up hearing people's emotions being demeaned. Maybe you grew up hearing people being, the way we grow up is how we tend to be subconsciously. So we've grown up in a society where maybe even when someone is down and then they are asking for help, people will be like, oh, you're not even worse off, there is so and so who was...
Comparisons.
Yeah. When we do that, it becomes like it's a norm. Comparing is just so normal. We do it so automatically. It becomes like, even when you ask someone, why did you tell that person like that? They first of all keep quiet, because it's like automatic.
They don't even mean it. They're just saying for
exactly.
the sake.
They just find themselves saying that. But I like the fact that there are people who are noticing it. There are people who are becoming more intentional.
Yeah.
There are people who are doing it one step at a time, trying to be more self-aware, knowing themselves. And they're doing it in different ways. There are people who are going for therapy. It's making them know themselves better. Some of these things, they were not so common before. And I like the fact that now they are there. It's a step in the right direction. But then we also have to understand that unless someone is willing to be introspective, you sit down as Grace, and then I accept that I have a problem with this, and then I become intentional with working on it. There is no way that someone can come and tell me that, Grace, you are this. It sounds off when someone tells you to do it, but when it comes from you yourself, you sit down and then you notice some patterns, and then you ask yourself questions. You become introspective. Why do I do this? Why am I like this? It makes you to be more active as you are going on that journey, because I say learning about yourself is a day-to-day. It's every day you learn something new about yourself. And also not to be so harsh on ourselves, because sometimes you find there are people who think that they've become self-aware when it's too late. But I think it's never too late to learn something. Like you said about unlearning, learning, and relearning, it happens every day. So I think there are more people who are trying to embrace some of these things. You've talked about self-love, self-awareness. There are people who are just going to therapy to find themselves. There are people who are journaling so that they can find themselves, so that they can know themselves better. Because I think when you know yourself in a good way, when you're aware of yourself as a person, me as Grace, I'm like this, or me as Fancy, I'm like this. Sometimes even some of those things that they affect us, maybe I'm affected by why is so and so not speaking to me, why is she angry to me, it reduces. Because you get to understand that what the other person is doing it's not because of you, it's because of them.
Purely.
When Fancy is an angry girl, it's not because I'm a bad person. Maybe she has things that she's dealing with. And I think when you become more introspective, when you learn about yourself, you get to understand that people behave the way they behave because of themselves, not because of you.
Because of what they are.
It's because of what they are, how they've grown up. There are very many things which go into how the patterns of how someone works, how they think. It makes you even become kinder to people. Even when people are not empathetic to your situation, you'll not be angry. You'll understand that they are doing the best they can with what they have. And I think that's something that might change the situation a little bit at a time, because the more we have people who are more self-aware, you might challenge someone else to be more self-aware.
Okay. Now, as parents, we want to start the journey of emotional intelligence way from, as these kids grow. So maybe you can give us nuggets on how to make our kids, be emotional intelligent as they grow, how maybe we can make them self-aware and all that. Maybe you can give us a few nuggets.
It just starts with small steps. For example, if your child has reached an age where they can understand, you can start by telling them, for example, if they're angry, you don't start telling them, don't be angry. You can start by asking them, I can see that you're angry. Why are you angry? So sometimes even for kids who cannot maybe understand so much, maybe they cannot put it in terms of words, you can use even colors. For example, red can be used to show that I'm angry. You can use colors. Blue can be used to be. You can just choose anything, because children have a very creative mind. And also you remember that you as a parent or a caregiver are the person who shows how your child how to be emotionally intelligent. So if you as a person, you're not in touch with your emotions, there is no way your child will be in touch with their emotions. So if you're angry, you're not afraid to say it. You will tell them, I'm feeling angry because this and this went on. Maybe something happened, you've reached home, you feel you're down, you'll tell them, I'm feeling this way and this way. You articulate it. I'm happy because of this, I'm sad because of this. That also teaches them how to do it. So you'll find that those small steps, even when your child is angry, maybe they might come from school and then they'll tell you, I'm angry because so and so stepped on me. And then now from there, you can start it from there in small steps, because first of all, children, the best way that they learn is by observing. So the first thing is that you as the caregiver, you try to build your emotional intelligence. When you do that, it will kind of become automatic. Your children will observe you, how you handle conflicts. That is how they'll handle their conflicts. So if you handle conflicts in a healthy way, your children will know how to handle their conflicts. Also, we should also try and change the narrative of, there are those things that we've grown up hearing, you're not supposed to be sad, you're not supposed to be this. It's good that you tell your children it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry, but how you react to that anger is what is wrong. You might be angry, maybe, for example, at someone in school, but that does not mean that when you come home, you'll be angry at us. You just teach them in small steps, and also understand that it's a learning process. So even when they make mistakes, you be compassionate to them, but remember that they learn from you. The first place that they learn is from you as the parent, you as the caregiver. How you handle things is how they will handle things. So you cannot be going telling your child that you don't need to be angry at someone else when it's someone else who angered you. But then they see you've been, for example, if it's in a home setup, you've been angered by your husband.
They see you angry, but you don't want them to be angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to accept that all of us are human. Even you, as the parent, you will get angry at some point. And it's okay to accept and show them that it's okay even for you as a grown-up, because you're still human. You'll get angry, you'll get disappointed. you show them that those emotions are normal, and show them that just because you're angry does not mean that you have to have outbursts. You have to maybe hurt another person who does not even know why you're angry. Because sometimes we find that we project our anger. Maybe I was angered by my boss, so when I reach home, I'm angry at everyone. You're showing them that that is how they should deal with their emotions.
So we need to have controls.
Yeah.
I don't know. My observation is like the social component, is suffering a lot when it comes to emotional intelligence. And especially, I think we are having a generation that doesn't know to take a no for an answer. We're also having a generation that is not authentic. We're not authentic with ourselves. So obviously, there's no way we can be authentic with other people. So what can you say about this?
I think you said about social, and the rise of social media has also affected some of these things, because very few people are authentic on social media. So you'll find there is the facade of social media, and then there is who you are in real life. And I think that hinders us from being our authentic self, for being real. Because sometimes you find social media is just like a facade where everyone is happy, no one is sad, everyone is having a good time, no one is struggling. And it gives us this view of life is supposed to be smooth, but then we have to remember that life is full of ups and downs. And being authentic might be hard, especially if you're used to being validated on the social media. If that is how you gain your joy, you might find yourself trying to be not your real self. And I think that is what, especially with the rise of social media, everything seems so, it's like it's not real. And sometimes we forget that when we are our real selves, we attract the same people who are in the same space that we are in. But then when you have this facade of the life you live, the friends that you have, those are the same people that you're going to attract, yet they're not in your space. So I think also the rise of social media has affected how people are being authentic. But I also like the fact that there are people who are noticing that, and they're being also vulnerable also on social media. They're talking about things which not all people will talk about. And it's good to accept that even in social media, maybe there is that person that maybe you think has a good life, but also then they have their struggles.
Behind the curtains.
Yeah, behind the curtain, each and every one of us has their own struggles. There is no one who is perfect. Yeah. And the moment I think we come to terms with that, because sometimes social media has made us think that there are people who have perfect lives, which can never happen. There is no one who has everything. Maybe you have a good job, but maybe there is something else you're lacking. It's just the way life balances us. Yeah.
Wow. Grace, I think you've taught us so well. And personally, even as I host you, I'm just not getting enough of this wisdom. So I would like you to tell our viewers, do you coach on emotional intelligence? You do?
Yeah.
So maybe you can mention where our viewers can, get you, maybe your contact, because I know to some of us, or most of us probably, it's not going to end here. Because we all want to be emotional intelligence, because as you've explained, we've seen the importance of being an emotional intelligent person. And in the world we are living, I think without being intelligent emotionally, you're finished. So you can tell us where you can find you.
I think they can find me on my social media pages. I'm on Facebook, G-solace Counseling, and also on Instagram, G-solace Counseling. When they contact me there, we can go ahead from there. They can DM me. My numbers are on my pages. My WhatsApp number is there.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a physical address?
No, not yet, but I do physical therapies in Thika and in Nairobi, and online. Online can be anyone, it can be anywhere. But then for physical, I only do Thika and around Nairobi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we call them telecounseling. Do you do them as well over the phone?
No, I've not started that. I only do online and physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. That was a session and a half because we've learned. Personally, I've learned. Personally, I've also picked, areas I need to improve. I hope you've done that as well, our viewer. And I hope we will continue, being thirsty for being emotional intelligent. I'm sure if we became intentional about being emotionally intelligent, we'll make our world a better place to be. So thank you very much for, tuning in. I hope you learn. And as I keep telling you, keep on watching our content, sharing our videos, subscribing, liking, and always give us a feedback on what you think. Thank you. Until next time. Bye.